Call the meeting to order. Please join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We got a few items on the agenda this morning. Mostly public hearings, with a couple of ordinance meetings as well. We'll get right to it. Number 2 is the planning public hearing. Mr. Shackley, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Joshua Shackley, Douglas County Planning. Before you this morning is an owner-initiated annexation of property into Douglas County Fire District Number 2 for Chief Petitioner William Schultz and Nanette Ward.
Here.
Subject property consists of 0.2 acres at 302 Oak Valley Loop in Roseburg, with no existing dwellings. It's zoned R1, single family residential. Planning staff finds that annexation is in compliance with the county comprehensive plan and statewide planning goals. Staff has no objections and has received none from the public. Answer any questions about that.
Okay, I'm going to open a public hearing and ask that anyone who wants to testify on the matter come forward and state your name for the record, please. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Let's approve the annexation.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the annexation. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, call for question. Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Commissioner Kress? Aye. Chair votes aye as well. Motion passes. Item number 3, likewise another public hearing.
Joshua Shackley, Douglas County Planning. Before you is a hearing for an owner-initiated annexation of property into Douglas County Fire District Number 2 for Chief Petitioner Douglas and Judy Peterman. Subject property consists of 63.88 acres with no existing dwellings and the zone farm use grazing. Planning staff finds the annexation is in compliance with county comprehensive plan and statewide planning goals. Staff has no objections to this annexation and has received none from the public.
I'll open a public hearing. Anyone wishing to come forward and testify on the matter, please do so and state your name for the record. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing.
We'll move to annex the property and approve an order incorporating the territory.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, call for the question. Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Commissioner Kress? Aye. Chair votes aye as well. Motion passes. Item number 4, another public hearing.
Joshua Shackley, Douglas County Planning. Before you this morning is a hearing and order incorporating territory for an owner-initiated annexation of 3 properties at 497, 505, 509 Corvallis Avenue in Roseburg into Douglas County Fire District Number 2. Chief Petitioner is Anderson Family Trust. Subject property consists of 3 parcels for a total of 60.86 acres with 2 existing dwellings. It's zoned agricultural and woodlot. County finds the annexation in compliance with Douglas County Comprehensive Plan and statewide planning goals. We received no objections from the public and staff has no objections to this annexation. Any questions?
I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to testify on this matter, please come forward and state your name for the record. Seeing none, close the public hearing. Move to approve the annexation of property and order incorporating territory.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, call for question. Commissioner Freeman?
Aye.
Commissioner Kress? Aye. Chair votes aye as well. Motion passes. Item number 5, another public hearing.
Again, Joshua Shackley, Douglas County Planning. For you this morning is a hearing and order incorporating territory for a property in Douglas County Fire District Number 2 for 2 properties at 16186 Dixonville Road. Chief Petitioner is Deborah J. Penn Trust. The subject properties consist of 160 acres with 2 existing dwellings zoned farm use grazing. Planning staff finds the annexation in compliance with our comprehensive plan and statewide planning rules. And we've received no objections to this annexation, and we have answered any questions.
I'll go ahead and open the public hearing, see if anyone wants to testify. Seeing none, close the public hearing.
I will move to approve the annexation and the order incorporating the territory.
I'll second that. We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, call for the question. Commissioner Freeman.
Aye.
Commissioner Kress. Aye. Chair votes aye as well. Motion passes. Item number 6 is the second reading of an ordinance. Mr. Meyer.
Yes, thank you. For the record, Paul Meyer, Douglas County Counsel's Office. This is ordinance number 2020-07-01. The first reading of this ordinance was August 4, 2020. As the chair indicated, today's the second reading. Today's the action item date. If you adopt the ordinance today, it will be effective 91 days from today's date. The title of the ordinance is an ordinance adopting Douglas County Code Chapter 8.30, nuisance abatement. If adopted, this will create an administrative code enforcement program, meaning we won't have to write tickets, we won't have to go to court. The county would issue notices and give folks an opportunity to appeal to the hearings officer. So a hearings officer would handle any hearings and sort out the abatement, the fine, that kind of stuff. No changes from the text of the ordinance, the way it was presented to you at first reading.
Great, thank you. I would move to adopt the ordinance.
I'll second that.
Motion and second. Any questions or comments? Yes, sir.
Two comments. So I've received quite a bit of feedback on this since the first reading, all very positive. I think the amount of work that needs to be done out there to help people get their property up to compliance and in some cases cleaned up is really important work. I think the efficiency that this creates for the hearings officer versus bogging down the court system, which is already relatively slow and cumbersome, I think it creates some efficiency. I think, with anything new, measuring how we apply this is going to be important. I hear this not to be heavy-handed government, but to allow some nuisance abatement in some of the very worst situations around the county, and really to try to help people get their property up to a standard that's required or that meets the code. So I think this is a really great tool. I hope as we use it appropriately, and I'll be watching closely, but I'm excited about having this new tool.
Anything else? Call for the question. Commissioner Freeman.
Aye.
Commissioner Kress. Aye. Chair votes aye as well. Motion passes. Item number 7 is County Council first reading of the ordinance.
Yes, thank you. So again, Paul Meyer, Douglas County Counsel's Office. This is ordinance number 2020-07-02. As the chair indicated, today's the first reading. The second reading will be scheduled at a date to be determined, but no less than 2 weeks from now. If effective, or if adopted at the second reading, it would then have an effective date 91 days after the second reading. The title of this ordinance is an ordinance amending sections 8.02.040, I misspoke. Let me back up. An ordinance amending sections 8.20, I think I got the 0 and the 2 backwards. So 8.20.040, 8.20.090, 8.25-.070, 8.25.110, 12.08.340, 12.12.210, 13.48.130, 13.48.140, 13.56.020, 13.56.240, and 15.25.130. That was a mouthful. The reason being is that this ordinance would create technical updates to the code enforcement provisions already contained in a number of different chapters of the ordinance that deal with different topics. So each of those section numbers that I read deal with the code enforcement provisions in each of those different chapters. So the chapters include the environmental health ordinance, the sanitation code, the Salmon Harbor ordinance, Douglas County Parks, solid waste management, and the county building code. So each of those chapters already contain provisions relating to code enforcement. It's judicial code enforcement, meaning they relate to writing tickets that get filed in the court system. So the prior one we dealt with has to do with code enforcement outside the court system. This has to do with technical updates to the pre-existing ordinance provisions that we already have dealing with writing tickets into the court system. As I said, they're all technical corrections, except there is one substantive provision that's written in each one of these new chapters. And that has to do with this issue about how often can tickets be written for a continuing violation. The court in a case in this last year where county department had written a number of tickets for continuing violation had ruled that the county ordinance as it was written at the time didn't give the county the authority to do that. So each of these chapters will include a new provision that provides that the county can issue tickets for each day of a continuing violation, so long as the total altogether doesn't exceed $10,000. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have on the first reading.
Any questions?
Well, I should say today is not the action item day because it's just first reading.
I see no questions and no action needed to be taken on this item today. Thank you, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you need me to sign that one?
I don't think so. Tiffany signed it.
She did already.
Let me double check. Okay, we're good. Thank you. Thanks for checking.
Hey, Josh. Hey, how are you? Because these are like